Galloway, the Hawk went into his thing. Just let the Hawk go.
You can put it on the board! Yes! Hell yes! Mercy, number 400 for Paulie. What a play by Wise! Mercy! Alexei! Yes! Yes! History! He threw him out of the ballgame. You gotta be vaping me! What in the hell are you doing? Look at the play by Burley! Mercy! Wow! 500 for Jim Thome! A game winner!
Big League All-Star, American League RBI leader as a player, and one of our favorites, Mike Side for years. Hawk Harrelson joins us on Hot Stove on this second-to-last day of the program. Hawkaroo, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Who the hell was that announcer?
Hey,
that was the great Hawk Harrelson.
That guy's got a chance, I think. Hey, Hawk, it's great to have you on the program. Where are you? Are you down at spring training already? And give us your schedule for the month of March.
Well, I'm down in Orlando right now, and I'm trying to walk off this cramp I just got. They got playing golf over Bay Hill yesterday. They got cart paths only, and that was a little too much walking for me.
Are you going to make it out to Camelback Ranch? You get 1-2 trips for the spring. Do you get out there to try to get back into the White Sox swing of things?
Well, my wife and I are talking about going out maybe the last week or 10 days, but last year was the first time I missed spring training in 56 years. And,
wow.
I found out something that was astonishing to me because, as you know, with the temper I got, I don't tweet, and I don't Facebook. I don't do any of those things. I found out I could find out just as much, if not more, about what's going on out there on my iPad than I could if I was on site. Because most of the time I'm out there, I'll go down to the backfields and watch the young kids play, because I know about what we got at the major league level. Of course, that's not the case this year with all the deals that were made and all the young talent that was picked up. But, Matty, I got to say something. I was watching you guys earlier. Matty, one of the best play-by-play guys in the game, but I agree with Harold on Odor.
Really?
Odor is going to be there for a long time.
So you'd be okay with long-term 10-year deal on anybody, even Odor?
Well, you probably heard me say before. I just don't agree, especially with pitchers' long-term deals.
Mm-hmm.
Position players are a little bit different, but Odor is legitimate. He's going to be there. He reminds me a lot of Robin Cano, and he reminds me a lot of some of the great young talent. That's one reason I'm excited about our club this year. Is that we're not going to win a whole bunch of games. We're not going to contend, but it's going to be fun watching these young kids develop. And that's one of my real joys after all these years in baseball. This will be, my 57th year. And I just love watching these young kids play. You got your Bryce Harpers and Mike Trout. And the talent and the young talent we're seeing in baseball today, we've never seen before.
Yeah.
And that's what I enjoy.
No doubt. Hey, Hawk, I wanted to ask you about the White Sox, too, and the direction they're going in. And it looks like, you've done this. When you're going to start a new team, a new direction, like they're doing right now, what's the best way to do it? And it looks like to me they've collected young pitching. They've obviously got some young talent they've plugged in there. But what's the best way? Do you start with pitching or do you start with everyday players?
Well, the game has changed so much. I started talking about this about 12 years ago. The game has changed so much today. You start with a bullpen. Because I don't care how good your starters are. I don't care how good your offense is. If you don't have that 7th, 8th, and 9th inning covered, you're going to lose. It's just that simple because I think Kansas City was the model. Dayton Moore did a wonderful job over there. And what they did is they started with that bullpen. They had some good young talent, and they knew it was going to take time for them to develop. But, when you get when I in my time zone, when I played, when you got in that bullpen, that was one of the first things we said just before the game started. Okay, if we get beat, let's get beat in a hurry. And the second thing was let's get in their bullpen. Well, today you don't want to get in those bullpens because when you get in the 7th, you're looking at 96, 97. You get the 8th, you're looking at maybe 97 to 100. And you get in the 9th, you're looking at 100 up. In fact, we just signed a kid, not signed him, but traded for him at Michael Kopech. They got him earlier this spring at 110.
Mm-hmm.
So we never, we had some hard throws back in my time zone, but not like on a consistent basis like these guys have today. So you start with a bullpen, and then you try to develop because pitchers today, that was one of the things that hurt us last year. We had a good ball club coming out of spring training. Mm-hmm. And we started off 23-10, but I told my wife, I said, honey, the schedule we got is going to kill us. She said, why? I said, because we only got one off day in April. And she said, well, what does that mean? I said, it means it's going to kill our bullpen. And sure enough, it did. When you start off 23-10, and you got the best bullpen in April, all of a sudden you get into May, and you got the worst bullpen. I've never seen that happen before.
Especially when your starters don't go deep in games anymore.
That's exactly why. Because especially coming out of spring training, they're only going to go 4 or 5 innings. Now the bullpen's got to pick up the rest of that game, and this went on for the whole month. And I said 23-10 was a pretty good start. We thought we were going to be there all the way through, and then the bullpen collapsed. And once that, you're done. He gone.
Hey, Hawk, I want to ask you, because your perspective is deeper and, dare I say, better than many of ours around here. I want to ask you about two issues that get a lot of traction nationally and where you stand on them. First being the DH in both leagues. Is that something you'd be in favor of?
I'd love it. I don't care what the rules are as long as they're the same for both leagues. You know, because the National League has a little different brand of baseball than the American League. And it's because of the DH. As I said, I don't care what the rules are as long as you know them.
Okay,
I don't care what the rules are as long as both leagues play by the same rules.
So here's another one. And we're talking more and more about this. I think it's becoming a little bit more of a reality down the road, sooner rather than later. The pitch clock, is that something that you would be in favor of?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's got to be done. You know, it's just got to be done. We have guys that stand out there, and you guys know the club. Some are worse than others. These guys are taking 40, 45, 50 seconds in between pitches.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. You know, and besides that, they don't understand in the long run, pitchers usually perform better when they work quicker.
Yeah.
And when that's the case, and I'll tell you something, that's down the road, not in my lifetime, but in your lifetime sometime, it's going to really hurt the game because the games are getting longer, and you got more commercial time involved. And at that point, you know, people aren't going to sit out there 4 hours to watch baseball games.
Yeah. So here's one that's being talked about, and we're going to see it in the World Baseball Classic this month. In extra innings in the World Baseball Classic, from the 11th inning on, if you're still tied, they're going to put runners on base to start an inning. I mean, that's a very extreme suggestion. I'm not sure it'll ever happen in the big leagues, but is that something that you'd be willing to kick the tires on to try to get games played a little quicker?
No, that's you framed it well. That's too extreme.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've seen a lot of things they tried. You know, they tried one year, and for an example, in spring training, the 3-ball rule. 3 balls and you walked. And we're playing Oakland, and Vida Blue was pitching. Vida Blue is one of the greatest talents never to be talked about that much in the history of this game. You should have seen the stuff this kid had. But anyway, 3 balls, you walk. So now he's got me 2-0, threw me a fastball. He hit those palm trees over there in right field. Then later on in the game, another 2-0 count, another fastball, and I hit all the palm trees in left field. So now we start the season, and it was like shooting fish in a barrel. And we start the season, we play in Oakland out there, and I walked to the plate, Dave Duckins catches. He said, I think Vida remembers Tucson. I said, well, what do you want me to do? Anyway, he struck me out 4 times that day.
Hey, I'm with you on Vida, by the way. We had Vida on the program not too long ago, and because of my Oakland A's partisanship, man, I'm with you. We still don't talk enough about that man.
No doubt. He was amazing. Hey, Hawk, I got to ask you this in pertaining to hitting, and you led me right perfectly to it. You were a guy that had power and hit for an average. So when you see today's hitters, and I heard today, and the talk conversation now is, I want people to hit pop flies and hit the ball in the air more than necessarily on the line or on the ground. And just different approaches that are being applied to this generation than maybe in the history of the game. It's so dramatically different. So what would you say to hitters today to be more consistent? How do we get that consistency back?
Well, Harold, you just mentioned the right word, approach. When you go to the plate and you're thinking about your swing, you're thinking about where your hands are, where your feet are, facing Major League pitching, that means you're behind the plate, and you're probably going to go over 4. You cannot. Joe Cronin and Ted Williams told me the game is from the plate forward. And when you go to the plate, you better have a knowledge of who's pitching that day. Ted Williams wanted to know 3 things. He wanted to know which way the wind was blowing, who was pitching for them, and who was the home plate umpire. And that's all he thought about all day long. He wasn't thinking about the plate back or his swing or his mechanics. And I think that they're teaching Too much mechanics, too much behind the plate. That batter's box is yours. You can go anywhere in that batter's box you want. You can stand at the back. You can stand at the front. You can stand away from the plate. You can stand right on top of the plate like I did against right-handed pitching. And against left-handers, I stood off the plate to take that slider down and then away. That's an approach because you're thinking about from the plate to the pitcher. And I call it a sense of control. Somebody's going to have that sense of control. It's either going to be the hitter or the pitcher, but somebody's going to have that sense of control. And then every now and then you get both guys have a sense of control, and that's when you really see some good baseball. But I just don't think I think mechanics are killing too many guys, too much information. And with a good young talent, the game of baseball down in the islands is played different than it is here in the United States. You don't come off those islands by walking. You come off those islands by hitting. And today, all of a sudden, they get to the United States, and they say, well, we want you to go deeper in the counts. We want you to see more pitches. Let these kids have fun. But they can go anywhere in that box. You can determine. And over the years, I've come up with a little philosophy of my own. You let your thoughts dictate your mechanics, not your mechanics dictate your thoughts.
Oh, I love that. I love that. The one thing you said, Hawk, is they don't do today is they don't move around in the batter's box. And you have that option to do that. I love you saying that point because I was always taught, you can take away certain pitches by where you stand. And
you're dadgum right.
Don't see it too much.
Hey,
great stuff.
Yeah, Hawk,
phenomenal.
We love having you on the program. Thanks for making some time with us, and look forward to seeing you once the season begins. Again, thanks for the phone call, man. You're the best.
All right, guys, listen, give Lauren a big hug for me, would you?
Oh, yeah, we will do
Lauren,
that.
Lauren, you want to say hi to Hawk?
Oh, my gosh, Hawk, you just made my day. I miss you. How are you?
Good, honey. Have a good year. Bye-bye.
Hawk, thanks again for the phone call. Hawk Harrelson joining us on Hot Stove. He's the best, man.
You see
get him going on.
Lauren light up.
Get him going on hitting.
Oh, my God.
The best.